Honorable Anthony Garcia, Minister of Education, Professor Ken Julien, and the cat is out of the bag, Dad, um, Dr. Sandra Sukram, Deputy Governor, Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Conrad Enel, Chairman of the National Gas Company, senior members of the Proman family of companies, captains of industry, members of the Board of Governors for UTT, senior faculty members, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let's see if I can, if it's my phone that's causing that. So, I have to say this is a little bit of a surreal experience for me. It's not every day you get to edit a comic book about one's dad. And the truth is, it never really occurred to me to do a book about Dad in the 17 years that Heroes has been in existence. Because to me, he's always just been Dad, and Mom's always just been Mom. It kind of took the Energy Chamber to politely but directly say, look, it's time for the Heroes Board to make a decision about doing a book on Professor Julien. And I said, okay. And the board of the Heroes Foundation agreed. And here we are today. I think it's, first of all, important to thank the Energy Chamber, because without their prompting, this would not have been happening today. So please let's give them a round of applause. You know, Najat did a great job in saying what Heroes is, because without that, people might think we're the next Marvel Comics of Trinidad and Tobago, which we're not, although there's a table over there who wishes that we were, but they shall remain nameless. We are very much in service of creating the next generation of heroes from our current generation of youth. And again, Najat did an excellent job talking to that. And everyone in this room has an opportunity to actually bear witness to what that looks like. Because for the first time in 6 years, I'm pleased to announce that the Heroes Foundation is doing our 7th Heroes Convention. This is where all our school children get together and show each other and other schools what it means to be a hero, through their own eyes, and through their own actions, and through their own words. And I invite everyone who is interested to let the Heroes Foundation know, and we will be pleased to arrange your attendance at the convention. It's on Wednesday, October 23rd at the National Academy of Performing Arts in Port of Spain, and all are welcome. The theme of that, it's important to mention, is Heroes for Life. And again, the students will be sharing with you what that means to them. Coming back to comics though, comics have treated heroes well. Najat said we've done 11 books over the past 17 years. And we will have done 3 in the year 2019, right guys? By the end of 2019. And we have many people to thank for that. First off, earlier this year, we had the privilege of launching the book on Mr. Hazley Crawford, our first gold medalist at the Olympics. And I want to once again thank NGC through their support of sponsoring that venture. So thank you very much, guys. Let's show Mr. Enel our appreciation. Today, of course, we are launching the one on Dad, which again would not have happened without the tremendous support of the Proman family of companies. There has been an incredible amount of work that's gone into this publication that 99.9% of us will never see. But Proman has been with us every step of the way, and for that, we at Heroes are very grateful. So thank you again, Proman. And to complete the year, we are going to do a comic book on our other series, which is called Heart of a Hero. It's a fictitious storyline, but telling educational and inspirational stories that are pertinent to the youth of today. And I think we can all agree that the issue of the impact of drugs and crime on our younger generation is something that we all should be in service of remedying. they think so too. And they've been a driving force behind creating this next publication, which is called Bullets and Unicorns. And if you want to know the reason behind that name, you'll have to come to the convention, because we'll be doing a soft launch of that book at that time. So back to this book. If I had to classify this book, I would really call it an origin story. You know those issue ones of Spider-Man where Peter Parker gets bitten by a radioactive spider, issue 1. My colleague from Nalis, comic book buddy, knows exactly what I mean. This is issue 1 of Dad's life. So what it's not is a long list of his accomplishments. We have an excellent appendix that's been developed at the back of the book that does a great job summarizing that, as well as a bio. And I want to hail out Mr. Cedric O'Connor for helping initiate the design of that appendix. Thank you, Cedric. And I also want to hail out Mr. Keith Subero, who has done a great fact check of the items listed in the appendix. So let's give those two gents a round of applause. So it's not focused on what he's done, but it is focused on why he is who he is, to do all of these great things. I won't spoil the story for you, but I will share that there is a cast of cameos that appear throughout Dad's life, from inception. And they all had the unified voice saying, "We believe in you, and we're here to help. We believe in you, and we're here to help." And that list ranges from what I call the Aruka Sharing and Caring Village, which he grew up in, to Aruka Boys RC, St. Joseph's Boys RC, Mr. Harris, their principal, instrumental figure, St. Mary's, Fatima, and the associated priests, Father Ryan and Father Lafouque. Shell, with the UBOT back then, scholarship, which is what enabled Dad to be able to go and study abroad. The University of West Indies, and the list goes on and on. And then he met our first Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams. And at that point in his life, the script flipped, where he had now been empowered, or powered up, to say, "Mr. Prime Minister, I believe in you, and I'm here to help." And the rest, as they say, is history. Now, why did Dad do this book? Because as you see, it'll be a very private, introspective sharing about Dad's life, who is a very private man, as many of you know. And the reason why he did it was for the next generation of heroes. In other words, all the existing students who are struggling with their own challenges, his hope is that if there's something in his story that they can relate to, that if he can overcome all his challenges and still achieve, then so can they. And Dad's been even more generous in his offering, because there's always a challenge of sustainability of these initiatives. At the end of today, we all go home with a book, read about it in the press, and then see what happens. Dad has very generously offered that for all the schools who are equipped with a number of these books, and the students read them, and they have questions for him, he will come. And the Heroes Foundation and the company that I work for, Ken J Systems, which Dad founded, is in full support of that initiative. The man is 87 years old, and he's still making offers like this for free. So, you know. The request that Heroes Foundation has to corporate TNT is to help us get this book into as many school children's hands as possible. Whether it's hard copy, whether we create an app that makes it an ebook, these are all the things that Heroes is in service of. The great news is, thanks to Proman, we have the raw material. Now it's up to all of us to expand the sphere of influence of the impact of Dad's story on the lives of our younger generation and the stories of others. Hazley Crawford, Justice Cross, the list goes on and on. So with that being said, I'd like to end by introducing the creative team, my own heroes behind this book. So I'll ask you guys just to stand when I call your name. Miss Catherine Callender, she is the writer. Mr. Sean Riaz, he is the illustrator, the inker, the colorist, the magician. Mr. Ranji Prasad, he is the graphic designer, the letterer, the project manager. And I'd like to add Miss Victoria Surajin of TechSprint, who is the local printery that continues to create these amazing books for heroes. Thank you all, guys. You can be seated. Now I'm about to introduce you to the heart of the book, because at the end of the day, this intimate look at Dad's life could only have occurred with an excellent biographer. And I can tell you that ain't me. I came across a book from the university school. I was 11 years old, and I had actually done a biography of my dad. And the teacher wrote one line, "You should have spent more time on his character." So that kind of crushed my hopes of being a biographer for a living. Thankfully, my wife and I gave birth to an excellent biographer, and her name is Ken Julien. And she did an extraordinary job sitting with my dad weekend after weekend, exposing this soft, amazing side that led to the core of this book being created. So I'd like to ask my daughter, Kaylin, to stand and be acknowledged by the team. Thank you, sweetheart. Just as an aside, as a surprise for my dad, because my kids are studying abroad as of last year, they flew in at midnight tonight to surprise Dad to be here for the launch. So let's give my wife and Nathaniel and Kaylin a round of applause for that. And I'd like to end with a reading. I mean, what kind of book launch would this be without a reading? Although it might be the first in the history of a comic book launch that you're going to have a reading. So these are the final statements of the book that both Catherine and Kaylin worked on. And I quote, I'll keep you guys on tender hooks. Oh, okay. Thank you, Christy. That's courageous Christiane Maynard, a core member of the Heroes Foundation, the only one who can call me out in the middle of a speech, so that's phenomenal. So I'm quoting, and this is, so Kaylin, as you will discover, is the narrator for most of the book, yeah? And I quote, "Granddad also saw so many more beautiful changes that could happen if the rich would share with the poor, and everyone would help each other grow, like the old days, when sharing was just how it was in his small village of Aruka. He felt that sometimes the reason why it took so long for the country to develop even more was that few people were ready to crack some eggs and make an omelet. And yet, he was excited to see who will be the next generation of heroes. The heroes of energy, the heroes of education, the heroes of a nation. Will it be me? Will it be you? Can it be all of us? I, for one, believe it can be, and it must be. Because I believe in my grandfather, I believe in my country, and I believe in heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Philip Julien. I believe in my father, and I believe in heroes. I thank you.